So you have been working out since a long time, say probably for years, sweating it out, all motivated, investing the time, money, and effort, and boom comes the day when you realize you probably would not be able to go to the gym for quite some time now. There could be various reasons why this might happen that include an injury or something like a major pandemic that we have faced in the recent past. Or there could be something else too, like a long business trip where you might not find a gym around. The reason could be any, but the solution to the problem lies right here. In this video, we will understand how exactly to bounce back after a long absence from the gym and keep as much muscle gains as possible without stressing out or losing our minds during the break. First, we must talk about what we must do during the break in order to keep maximum muscle gains and avoid putting on fat. Because let's face it, putting on muscle mass is probably one of the most difficult tasks in this world, and add to that, if you have to do it again after losing a considerable amount of your pre-gain mass, is probably going to be tough psychologically. But of course, not physically. Or I should put it as the amount of time taken to regain the same amount of muscle mass is going to be pretty shorter due to something called as the muscle memory, about which we will talk in just a bit. So what should you be doing in order to keep maximum muscle mass possible and avoid any fat gains during the break? Firstly, do not drop your protein intake drastically. If you have been counting calories, this should be probably easier. Say, for example, if you were consuming approximately 170 to 180 grams of protein on a normal schedule, weighing 170 pounds, reduce only 30 to 40 grams of protein, as you were not exercising anymore and do not need 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein anymore, but nothing more than 30 to 40 grams should be dropped. This is important to maintain the ample supply of amino acids to the muscle. Not to mention the importance of protein for your immunity to stop you from falling sick. Next, you must reduce your carbs to some extent, which in turn would be reducing your total calorie intake as well for the day. You are not burning as many calories as you did in your normal schedule. So it only makes sense to reduce the total calories in order to minimize the chances of any fat gain. And carbs, being the primary source of energy, would be required much less by the body due to reduced physical activity. Also, you must get sufficient sleep and relaxation. Sleep is a time of rebuilding. Hormones like testosterone, human growth hormone, set about rebuilding and repairing your body. Restful sleep helps with this process, so make sure you get it. Relaxation is important too, since emotional stress will induce catabolic stress hormones, which means more destruction of muscle if you are not careful. You must also limit your alcohol intake. This is not to say you can't have a drink, but excessive alcohol intake doesn't do your muscle load any good at all. Apart from all the other destructive effects of excessive alcohol consumption, imbibing too much raises estrogen levels and knocks around your testosterone, causing much more muscle loss. I need it, please, for God's sake. That brings us to the last point. Stay active. Look for things to do like walking, sprints, jumps, or carrying stuff at home. If you are in the mindset of trying to do as many things with your body as possible, you'll start to see many opportunities all around you without having to go out of your way to do them. Comment down below if something apart from the above points may have helped you too during your such a big break that I have missed out on. Now, we move on to the discussion of how to get back to the gym after taking a long break and what you should be expecting. Remember, we touched upon something called as muscle memory in the beginning? That is what is the most important concept that helps a lifter to gain back the same strength and size in a shorter span of time than what it took in the very first place. Muscle memory is a form of procedural memory that involves consolidating a specific motor task into memory through repetition, which has been used synonymously with motor learning.
What?
To simply put, muscle memory is not a memory stored in your muscles, of course, but memories stored in your brain that are much like a cache of frequently enacted tasks for your muscles. It's a form of procedural memory that can help you become very good at something through repetition. The key to muscle size and strength lies in the nuclei. Nuclei control protein synthesis, and the more you have, the more protein you are able to turn into muscle. The first effect training has on your muscles is not actually growth. Yes, it's not actually growth, but it's to create more nuclei, which eventually facilitate the development of more tissue. The points you should keep in mind when starting to get back to the gym, an entire lifestyle revolving around lifting, is to don't overdo it right away. Doing too much too soon can overwhelm you mentally, and a rigorous routine may eventually feel like too much to deal with, which in return make you feel defeated. Low intensity workouts are a good way to reintroduce the body to activity, frequency, and duration. After a week or two, you can bump up the intensity as long as you're not losing form.
Yeah.
Begin with what works for you initially. The body responds to consistency over time, so your results will come much faster if you keep a regular pattern and frequency. That moves us to the next point. Don't forget to take those rest days. Yes, recovery is part of being active. When you take a day off, your body isn't. It's actually working very hard to repair and replenish itself after all the work you put it through. This is a lifestyle you're creating now, so be realistic about your frequency. Also, try if possible, find a friend who keeps you motivated. Together you can also keep each other motivated and accountable. And last, but the most important, be patient. Building a strong, athletic and aesthetically pleasing body isn't a 6-week challenge. It's a lifelong pursuit. But after a layoff, you need to be patient. Focus on the process and persevere. Some of the points that go without saying, as they must be kept in mind irrespective of whether you're a newbie to the gym or starting out after a long break, is to start your workout with a good warm-up, end with a good cool-down. Take it slow and focus on your form. Spend a few minutes stretching and never compromise on sleep. Well, that's it for this video. I wish you all the success in your quest to get back in shape and get stronger. Remember, it's usually the mind that gives up much before the body does. All the best. If you found this video helpful, do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, as we will be coming up with more great content. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.